Hi guys. Well, round 2 is in the books. It's time to review round 2 and start round 3. To kick us off, we'll go back to Penrith for the Panthers and the Bulldogs game. I think Penrith started fantastic. The intensity was there. They scored the first 2 tries within the first 10 or 15 minutes. And then they took their foot off the accelerator. They took penalty goals on offer. They let the Dogs back into the game at the end of the first half. The Dogs were not very good at all, but they managed to get a win. I think Des Hasler will take that, as the saying goes, we'll take the 2 points and we'll see you next week. So I think that was probably the majority of Desi's speech. They did lose Tolman earlier, but I really think they'll take a lot out of that. They've got some big boys there, and I look forward to seeing them against Parramatta's pack this week. The next game, Brisbane and the Warriors on the Friday night at Suncorp. The Warriors improved a lot, but it still shows how good Brisbane are. They're really going to be tough to beat this year. All over the park, the forwards, the halves were fantastic. I just love how Ben Hunt goes to the line, puts the defence in 2 minds, and then Milford does the same thing, and he's got either a Gillett or someone running outside him. I just think they're fantastic, and don't forget those centres. Jack Reed was great. Welcome back to him. I also like bringing Nikorima on. I questioned it last week, having a half on the bench. I think he was fantastic. I think Bennett used him sparingly. I think he would have got 20 minutes max, and I think he made at least one line break, but just gets that ball rolling a lot quicker. McCulloch's a fantastic player, but I just feel like he's really handy for them to have. On the Warriors, I think it's been well documented, Sean Johnson isn't taking the line on. I think Isaac Luke was a bit better. That try they scored was very soft and un-Brisbane-like, and I think they'll get punished for that. But I think Tuivasa-Sheck came on a lot better, and I think they're starting to gel. It's only week 2, but I think that helps. The game I thought, which would be really good quality, the Parramatta and Cowboys game, turned out not to be. Too many errors, too many penalties. The Cowboys just tried to punch some points in down that right edge of Parramatta with Takarangi, but with 4 in there was no points. The first time they went the other way with Corey Norman, they scored, but Parramatta look a better team with 4 on the field. Offensively, he was good, and defensively, he just comes up out of the line, and his reading is a lot better. No disregard to Luke Kelly, but I think they're just 2 different grades. So, yeah, it's not much you can take out of that game, except the loss of Nathan Peats, I think, is huge. And the last game that I'll recap is the Sharks and the Dragons game. Another one that I thought Cronulla were fine. They completed quite well, but I think St George were dreadful. I think it also been well documented, taking the 2 points after Fecky was sent off for 10 minutes in the bin. It just kills it. It kills it. They're 20 metres out. They have the extra player and they take the 2. It soaks time off the clock. Cronulla get to punch the ball back down in St George's corner. I just think that's a brain snap. I assume that came from McGregor, and I think that's no good. I was out there on Sunday, and I thought it was fantastic. We went out there, the crowd was buzzing. It was really good. I think they could bring back Dame Wheeler for a bit of entertainment, but other than that, yeah, I think Cronulla did really well. I'm warming to Benton Barber, and I think Chad Townsend played well too, so I look forward to that. And I won't go into the tips of last week, but I think the Tigers was in there. I also won't go into the other games. I really wouldn't like to discuss Newcastle. The Raiders and the Roosters, although it was a close game, the quality was really poor. Again, completion rates, if you watch that game, it almost put me to sleep. The Titans and the Storm, I tell you what, Greg Bird's playing some good football. I think that'll make Laurie Daly happy. And Manly and Tigers, well, I think we know about that. Just to run through a couple games this week, I think I'll start off with the Bulldogs and the Eels. As I said earlier, I think the 2 packs will be going at it. Nathan Peach is just a huge loss. One, because they're playing De Gois, which is already a downgrade, and two, they're carrying a hooker on the bench. I do like Casey Pritchard. I think he'll offer a lot, but it's essentially two players that you've got to play over Peach. So massive loss. They've also lost Manu Ma'u. So if the Dogs show up, which Desi's fairly good at getting them to show up on a big game, I think they'll be hard to beat. Although the Parramatta halves could carry them, that's going to come down to the line. Clemmer is playing. I'm not sure what you guys think of touching the referee. I thought they might make a stance on him, but I'm glad they judged him on the occasion. But yeah, I think it's that one could have gone either way. I won't go into the Knights Raiders game, although I will say that the line for that is only -4 to Canberra, so juicy. The Panthers Broncos game, I think Penrith without Dean Farray, I mean Peachy's in the halves again. I think next week Moylan will come in there and be a completely different team. So I think they're one more week away. They've been unlucky. They were unlucky to the Bulldogs. They're unlucky to the Raiders, and I can't see them beating Brisbane. So they might be unlucky again there. I won't touch on the Titans and the Tigers. I think that one's sort of, unless you're really desperate to watch, you'll watch that game. The Warriors and the Storm, sort of the same. No interest at all. Dragons and South, now that's at the SCG, which it's not the best place for viewing a game of football, but it's a heritage game. I can't see the Dragons getting close to South going on last week. The line there is 7.5. Another one it's a bit juicy. And the last game, the Monday night game, Manly and Cronulla. The Sharks are actually outsiders here, if you can believe that. Manly did well to get back into that game against the Tigers, but I think you have to remember that Tigers team is not a top 8 side. I think Cronulla is almost a top 4 side. So I think the Sharks, I know they're not the best at Brookvale, but I think you could almost it's well worth taking the $2 on offer. Just to finish up, I just want to say that a few injuries that caught my eye. I think the Billy Slater one is, I'm a big fan of Billy Slater, of how he plays. I think he's a fantastic fullback. To do his shoulder like that, he's out for the rest of the year, I think is a huge loss. I know they have Munster and he played fantastic, but Billy Slater, he'll come back. If he comes back, he'll be older, and I think that's a real loss. Dugan, I'm not sure if he's going to play, but I think they've named him at fullback, and I think he's got to stay there. I do feel bad for Kurt Mann, but these things happen. And Corey Oates, I'm not sure how long he's out for, but he's a bit of a loss as well. Just into the racing this week, a few requests for a few tips. The Golden Slipper, I've always been on Capitalist, and why wouldn't you be? But after the Todman and people saying he's lame, I still think he's a massive chance, but I like Flying Artie. In the other race, it's the Galaxy, the Banjo Galaxy. I like Terra Vista, and English I think is the favourite, but I like Terra Vista. English, the win it had last start was fantastic. It'll be hard to beat, but I don't mind Terra. And finally, in the South African soccer, I think Bidvest Wits will get home, Bryony. So spend up. Thanks guys, have a good week, and keep me posted on what you think I can improve on. Thank you very much.